Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rainmakers Roundup. I'm your host, Mark Iorio, and with me today is Peter Evans. Peter is the president of Double O's Music, man. That was his nickname in college, right?
That's right,
Right?
Double O's. Yep,
Yale, baby.
that's right.
I just interviewed someone from Yale this morning.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Good.
so small world, right?
Yeah. They're all over the place.
Yeah, all good stuff. Listen, you have a new venture, which is pretty cool. I told my wife about this, and she thought it was the coolest thing. I've been doing this for 3 years, interviewing, and people are into different businesses, and some are really kind of fun, and some are not so exciting. But your new venture is really cool. It's Route 1 Views, right? You need
Yep.
to tell us about it, but you got to give us a little background on it too, Peter, because you were an architect for a long time.
Yeah. Architect and a builder. Yeah.
And a builder, yeah.
But it goes back to the Yale days.
Yeah.
When I was studying architecture and I was learning about through Robert Venturi, who's a wonderful architect and author, who was Philadelphia based, about experiencing architecture at speed. He wrote this book called Learning from Las Vegas, and I fell in love with this vernacular architecture of hot dog stands and just places that you experience along the road at 35 miles an hour, at 50 miles an hour, and the way they get you to recognize that we're here.
Yeah.
Come on in, we're open. And I wanted to do a photographic essay of Route 1,
Sure.
strangely.
Yeah.
Because New Haven is right along Route 1 and Philadelphia, and I knew
Oh, yeah.
Route 1 from lots of different places.
Yep.
And the way I experienced it was always kind of that sort of honky-tonk strip mall, gas station, fast food.
Diner.
Diner stuff.
Right,
Yeah. But I knew there were other parts of Route 1. And I never got to do it. And so here I've turned 60, my kids have fledged the nest, all kinds of changes happening in my life. And I thought, Peter, you really do need to get on this if you're going to do this project.
Now's the time.
And 2018, I went down to Cary, North Carolina in March and did my first week. And that's sort of been my pattern, to take a week and stay in one spot along the route and try to get to know it. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of winging it. And I'd never been to Cary before, and the reason I went there is it's roughly halfway between Fort Kent, Maine, which is the northern end of the route, and Key West, Florida, which is the southern end. So it's 2,400 miles, and this is basically at mile 1,200.
Yeah.
And Cary's kind of interesting because it was a really fast-growing standard metropolitan statistical area. It's in the Research Triangle.
Yep.
Just all this new kind of growth happening around there. So I started there, and I got better and better. I learned to become a better photographer. I'm still learning to become. There's so much to learn. It's great. But I feel like I get younger every time I go out on the route.
That is cool.
So I was with a friend in Oregon before that, and I took the red eye home, and somehow in that sort of dream state or that kind of quasi-sleep state, I can do a website. I don't have to put this up on the walls of some room somewhere and do a photographic essay or put it into a book. This could be a
Absolutely.
website. And so it's really the first one I can think of a geo-specific.
Yeah.
Okay? It's all about Route 1 and sort of this 5-mile boundary on either side that we've just kind of plucked out of thin air. But roughly 5 miles on either side, and it includes the 1As and the bypasses and all of the auxiliary things that have grown up to be part of the Route 1 family.
Yeah.
So it's geospecific, but it's also this social media thing. It's interactive, so it's a cultural media thing. So you can go on the site and see specific views. We
Right.
call them views.
Yep.
And sometimes those are pictures, sometimes those are stories, sometimes those are full-blown videos, sometimes those are old photographs and history lessons. So I'm waiting to see how it grows and how.
It's such a great project. It really
Thanks,
is. It's
thanks.
so cool. Look at you, man. You're excited.
Oh, I'm lit up.
You're lit
Yeah.
up. It's like your days back at Yale. You know, when you're
Absolutely.
22 years old.
Yeah.
You said it was 2,400 miles from the tip of Maine down to Key West.
Uh-huh.
Now, I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell the audience, how much of that have you traveled so far?
I've done just about all of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
Almost all of it.
Some of it on foot, some of it on bicycle, a lot of it by car.
No kidding.
So, when I get to a city, I'm
Oh, you need to walk around.
yeah,
Sure.
I'm parking the car, walking around, grabbing my camera, and that's you meet people on the street.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Get
Yeah.
lots of good things. So.
What are some of the most interesting things you've found? I mean, forget architecturally because you're going to talk about that in a minute, but there's got to be some really cool things that you've uncovered. Right?
I can't play favorites, but I'll give you a few.
Give us a couple
little
stories.
instances.
Yeah.
There is a big fork of two roads down in South Hill, Virginia, which is just about to the North Carolina border.
Okay.
And there was this crazy kind of sculpture and wood and wild paint and stuff on this building that kind of stood alone. And I have to pull up and check this one out.
Check this out.
It was like no other thing, and nobody was there. But I took down this fellow's number, and I called him up, and I said I was at your shop, and you look like to be wood carver and stuff. Oh yeah. I do chainsaw sculpting. And Tommy sat for an interview with me. Well, he gave me a tour of his place, basically.
Yeah.
And he's just way out there. He's just the bigger than life character.
Cool.
Sculptor, born again Christian, reformed alcoholic. He just has all of these ingredients in his life and told an amazing story about how he sort of found God through sculpture and that wiped away the need for all of the drugs and alcohol.
Oh my
and
God.
now he's not pure, not dressing in all white or anything.
Right, sure.
But he's really on.
He's got his act together.
He's on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
He's definitely got his act together.
Yeah.
And he's getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to Virginia Beach and put an eagle's nest with his eagle sculptures on a 30-foot totem.
Wow, that is cool.
It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and he's got this wonderful little shop that's full of trinkets and junk and.
And it's all done by
bits of wood.
chainsaw.
Almost all. He does.
Okay.
He gets
Carving.
out the Dremel.
Oh,
every
yeah,
once in
yeah,
a while.
oh, yeah.
He goes small, but it's
Love
power
that little
sculpture.
Dremel.
Oh my gosh.
What else? What other little stories can you share with us?
I don't know. We were talking about Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, we were.
And
Yeah,
how wonderful that was to see a place that had really been on its knees in the 1960s.
Oh, yeah,
Just
sure.
a really tough city in the middle of South Carolina. And they designated a historic district right along Gervais Street, which is Route 1, to start reclaiming some of the old buildings, some of the abandoned old buildings, and giving private investors the opportunity to make some of their money back by reusing an old building.
Sure.
And today, the street is just this amazing example of this program with all kinds of repurposed
Oh, nice.
buildings.
I love that.
Yeah. The place that used to print bonds and Confederate currency is now a Publix supermarket.
Wow.
This
Wow.
big old brick building that's right on Gervais Street.
Yeah.
It's just a brilliant stretch. And I get a lot of inspiration from repurposed buildings.
I'm sure
that
you
are
do.
used for, especially for art and music.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Those
sure
are,
you do.
Those are the ones that are my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to light up when you see some of the architecture that is out there, and what you see from. So the tip of Maine. I mean, when I looked at the map on Route One views on your website, I'm thinking to myself, does Route One really go all the way up to the tip of Maine? It's like
Curls
it
back on
curls all
itself.
the way up.
It does.
It's got to be really interesting to go all the way up there. And then you told me that I've never been to Key West either, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other place.
No, I've been down there, but this was way before the project
Oh,
started.
way before the
That's where I
project.
learned to windsurf. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was down there. Oh, wow. Way before kids, way before I was married. It was yeah, right
Yeah,
out of school.
I'll bet it's a little different
Yeah.
than it was
Talk
back
about
then.
40 years ago. Yeah.
So architecturally, what are you seeing out there that's really interesting, other than these repurposed buildings on a street like Gervais Street or?
Well, I guess what I'm seeing is that very little changes in terms of the honky-tonk of Route
Of
1.
Route 1, yeah.
The construction techniques get different.
Yeah.
No, the Howloon restaurant in Saugus, Massachusetts is still there.
No kidding.
It's a 400-seat Chinese restaurant.
No
Up
kidding.
on a hill with big flashing neon signs and a giant koi pond.
Oh
and
my gosh.
It's one of these industrial use
Yeah.
things that was on Route 1 after it became, in the 1950s, I guess, a Super 4, 2 lanes in each direction with limited access. You should check that one out. There was another kind of Western burger and steaks place similar to that across the street, which is now no longer in business.
There. Yeah.
There's a good one like that in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but it just has the neon sign and for the restaurant, and it still says restaurant on the sign, and people pull in looking for the restaurant, and it's a Walgreens or something.
Is it? Oh my God.
There's a Walgreens and a hamburger joint and a hotel, and people are going, well, where's this wonderful, where those are whales spouting, and it's got sort of red spouts on the
And no one's ever
neon
done
sign.
anything like this for Route 1, right? I mean, right? I mean,
There've been books. There've been some wonderful
but
books.
what, one-offs or the whole stretch?
Mostly, the ones I'm thinking of are the whole stretch.
whole stretch.
Some people have done books on the Boston Post Road, which is probably the most historically rich
Oh, yeah,
piece
sure.
because it goes back to the Native American Indians,
Right.
right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Who showed the white men the trail, and so, and then there are lots that was one written by a fellow, I think, from New Jersey, who took 2 weeks, I think, to do the whole journey.
2 weeks.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
What
Was it
he
really?
pulled out, yeah.
Like Route 66 has been overdone. I mean, people have done countless things on Route 66.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to
Overdo it. No,
but it's been done a lot.
A lot,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say done to death yet, because
Yeah.
going out there is fun.
Yeah.
It's really
Never
fun.
done it, man.
But it's no longer contiguous. You just get little sections.
Oh,
Not little sections, but you get sections of it. It's no longer,
Right, one stretch.
and not used like Route 1.
Yeah.
So 40% of the U.S. population lives within or works within 20 miles of Route 1. So it really is this lifeline of our country.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's,
that's-
what I think of when I think of Route 1 is a bunch of traffic lights and, stop and start, and a whole lot of stuff going on. And as I said to you on the phone the other day, especially in the Princeton area, over the last probably 30 years, right? It went from all farms,
That's
a
right.
lot of sod farms,
Yep.
right, to a Class A office building / retail center.
And warehouses.
And warehouses, yeah.
As soon as it connects into the Jersey Turnpike,
Yeah.
you get all the warehouse
That's
use.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. No more
Yeah.
farms there.
No more farms.
But it is that straight
Straight
road.
run, yeah.
Man. Yeah.
When I was a kid, we used to go up to Yankee Stadium that way, but,
yeah.
right up Route 1 before 95 was built. We are going to take a quick break.
Great.
Okay, commercial break. And we will be right back after a message from our sponsors, and we'll talk more about Route 1 views and what Peter Evans has found on this incredible journey. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors.
So many stories.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Welcome back to Rainmakers Roundup. I'm your host, Mark Iorio. I'm with Peter Evans. Peter's the president of Double O's Music. He'll tell you about that, briefly, but what we're talking about is this incredible project that he's working. It's more of a project. It's more than a project. It's a lifelong journey.
Yeah, it's a passion.
It's a passion, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty cool because I've asked you this before. It's interesting. Typically on my show or on our show, we talk about businesses that are unique in a competitive environment that are doing something a little different. You're obviously doing something a little different, but when you started this, you were not thinking about monetizing them, right? This was a passion that you've had for 40 years.
Yeah.
So take us through the sort of the thought process of you being a curator and wanting to go out and meet people and seeing all this, these wonderful artifacts, these bits of architecture along Route 1, and then it dawned on you at some point, I got to build a website, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, well, the website thing started with a friend of mine from the Orpheus Club of Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
A young guy.
Okay.
Who was into building websites and doing a blog.
Okay.
And I said, Kevin, could you possibly, set up this was after my brainstorm.
Yeah, sure.
Could you possibly build a website for me, because I want to kind of put up this stuff about Route 1 and kind of stretch it all out on a map. Mm-hmm. and put little points of interest that people can click on. And he said, yeah, that's definitely doable. I can work that. And he got the basics together. He said WordPress has the best map plugins.
Sure,
and
sure.
had a lot of the technical prowess that it would have taken me months to do.
Yeah.
And so we were off and running, and then his blog started hitting.
Really?
He's running a thing called Philly Who.
Okay.
And Comcast picked it up, and he, gave him a Kobe Bryant interview, and he just said, I really love your project, but I gotta I just got to do this.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
And let me find somebody else. And he found Chris Szabo, who works now out of northern Thailand. He's a Canadian national, and he travels with a backpack and a laptop and does programming for
Okay.
all kinds of just freelance.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
And Chris took a scuba vacation last week down to the southern part of the country, and you know, did a little scuba, set his laptop aside, came back and was on our conference call yesterday, and so. Chris has been doing the nuts and bolts.
Okay.
But I connected with another Chris,
Yeah.
who we both know,
Yeah.
Chris Gentili, who has taken over as my COO, my Chief Operating Officer.
Excellent.
And I realized I needed someone like Chris after about a year of traveling around and trying to get manage the website development and all of some of the legal stuff that was involved. And that part was making me a little miserable.
Was it really?
Yeah, I'm just not built that way.
Yeah.
I'm not quite detail oriented. I'm just like big picture thinker,
Yeah, right, sure,
and got
of
to
course.
just kind of go out and grab it. And,
Yeah.
and so Chris and I met through LinkedIn.
That's so funny.
I put out, one of those job flyers.
Posts, yeah.
And he said, "Oh, this sounds really interesting," and we met, and things worked out.
Well, he's right. It is very interesting. It's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
What do you hope to accomplish with this, Peter? What is your, I know you want to get as much photography and videography
Sure.
out there as possible,
Yeah.
but what's your goal?
I want to connect people on this website, and I'm starting with artists and songwriters like me, and trying to sort of connect the creative community along Route 1 first.
Yep.
And that's very real estate developer mentality, because when you have cheap real estate, you find the artists and the musicians to move in first,
Yeah, no
right?
kidding.
And then everyone eventually thinks, hey, this is pretty
This is
cool.
pretty cool.
I'll come visit.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so that's the strategy.
Yeah.
Our country has never been more divided
Yeah.
that I can remember in my lifetime.
Yeah, we're
right
about
now.
the same age, you're right.
And here is this amazing thing that connects 40% of us at least, and that most Americans know about and have experienced.
Yeah.
It's North and South,
Yep. Right.
which says a lot.
Yeah.
And if I can get just a few people to talk to one another or appreciate what's happening on a different end of the road, it's all been worth it.
Yeah.
That to me, if I can get people from both ends to contribute and to appreciate the art, their music, their perspective, what they write, the fact that their grandmother baked them brownies, whatever they want to write about on Route 1, then, man, it's all worth it.
As you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, embracing the differences in many respects. I mean, you think about parts of Maine and then you think about South Carolina and how different those cultures could possibly be, or parts of Massachusetts and parts of Georgia or Florida, and how different those cultures can be, yet you're still connected by this one bond, and this one bond is living near this
right.
roadway,
Yep.
which connects almost 40% of our entire U.S. population. It's pretty damn cool.
Right.
It really is.
It's
pretty
the
cool.
original interstate.
Yeah.
That was set up,
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it was
that makes
set up
sense.
in 1926.
Why would it be called Route 1 if it wasn't our original interstate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, that's where we started, with the north-south roads being odd numbered, and the even number roads being it because Route 2 was
Right.
the east-west. and
Was
then
horizontal.
Eventually 66.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And now the big interstates
All follow that.
all follow
Yep.
that same pattern.
That's right. Yep.
So from a passion standpoint, you want to connect, you feel like you want to connect people and you're interested in showing people differences, but through that connectivity, just getting people to understand that there's some pretty cool things along Route 1, and you want them to participate. How about the business side of it? What's your goal there? What would you like to accomplish in terms of, say, the business side? Do you want to raise funds for something or to make a profit in some way? But this is really the heartbeat, and it's coming from your soul.
Sure. Yeah. I want it to be self-sustaining.
Yeah.
I want it to have the ability to grow and to flourish in some ways. We still have not discovered our audience or our audiences.
Yeah.
Whether they're old car buffs or people who go to diners or
sure.
virtual vacationers or it may be many of the above, many along that list. And that's part of what we're doing now is trying to put down these taproots and see what grows up, whether there's real interest there, whether things will really grab hold of people's imagination and their ability to participate, their willingness to write something, to contribute.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just in our
You're just
infancy.
scratching the surface here. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of even advertising, when I talked to Chris the other last week, he's running an ad for Rainmakers Roundup on Route 1 Views, which I thought was really nice. Thank you for that, by the way.
Sure.
But along the route, the 2,400 miles, you have so many opportunities to sell little ads that are, people promoting their businesses, and then. The other thing that I was thinking of, Peter, is the contributions. There's no way you can possibly, unless you have a staff of hundreds of people, no way that you can capture all these awesome stories that are along Route 1, the 2,400 miles. Yeah. So to get people to participate by writing in little things is got to be lighting your fire.
And taking pictures with their phone.
Right.
I mean, how easy is that?
Yeah, it's very easy.
The participative thing, I think, is really going to be important. And wait and see. It might be Civil War buffs. You have no idea.
God.
It might. Yeah. You never know.
It's so cool. It's such a great project.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't even know what to call it. I mean, it's a project, but it's a business, but it's also your passion.
Yeah.
Tell me who and where you find inspiration. Where does that come from?
Oh, it comes just from people, just from walking down the street and learning things that I haven't learned yet. I am one of those folks who goes out and wants to find something new every day, wants to discover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm built. All the personality tests and all that
Yeah,
stuff. That
sure.
say, woo, you need to go out and find it.
Yeah.
And some of that's with music and songwriting, but a lot of that is asking people questions and looking at a building or a space and saying, what did that used to be?
Yeah.
And what's the story behind that?
Right.
How did it evolve into what it is?
What it
now?
is today, yeah.
Route 1's just full of that.
I'll bet.
I could have another lifetime and not get through it.
Yeah, I'll bet. It's been amazing. Thank you.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
coming in.
Thank
I know you drove in from Havertown, right?
Yeah. No, not Wynwood now.
Wynwood. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's
But
okay.
thanks for coming into the
Oh,
studio.
thank you for having me here.
You're
This was
welcome.
really fun.
This was awesome.
I love the way you do your job.
Oh,
too.
thank you.
No,
Thanks,
you're
Peter.
good. You're very good.
Thank you. Tell everyone how to get in touch with you and Double O's music, please.
Well, Route 1 Views is probably route1views.com is probably the best thing to jump onto first, and you can email me if you like.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Peter Harmo, PeterHarmo @gmail. That's another easy way. And you can Google Double O's music; it's out there.
Cool.
So,
I've done it.
you have.
And connect
all right.
with him on LinkedIn too.
All right.
All right. That was great. That was a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great week, everyone. Make sure you connect with Peter Evans. Check out Route 1 Views. This is the coolest thing going on out here, man. I'm telling you, it's a great project. Have a wonderful and safe week, everyone. We'll see you next week right here on Rainmakers Roundup on RVN TV.